This year's Orchids exhibition is really for all ages. It's something new this year. Everyone's welcome to come and just look at the beautiful orchids. There's thousands on view. It's a great respite from winter's gray skies. And then children get a little bit of an educational experience as well. An interactive guide takes them through the conservatory so they can learn more about botanical exploration and the orchid species.
We're taking kids through the journey of what a plant explorer might have experienced. So we wanted to give them a place to relax, to interact, and to kind of process the things they've learned. So we created a campfire where they might eat and relax, socialize, and everything like that. We have a tent set up. We have a plant press, which is how they might preserve some of these specimens. They would also pack up orchids in crates, and these would get sent back home. Then the journal is what the kids get at the visitor center, and it takes them from the Himalayan biome all the way back through the end of the exhibit. And it just tells them a little bit about how the explorers operated, and a little bit about where they are. If they're in the Himalayan biome, it tells them a little bit about that, and so on. And then journal entry activities for each stop that they make. It allows them to write down foods that they might have found, or plants that they might be drawing, or a scavenger hunt near the end.
The theme of the show is like then and now, so sort of illustrating the differences between like the period of discovery of orchids, and then sort of where we stand now in current like modern hybridized varieties. In our biomes, we have species orchids, is what we call them, that are sort of more historically relevant species that might have been discovered by like botanical pioneers. For this year's orchid show, we have 2,000 orchids on display and 150 varieties, and 21 of which are species orchids. Typically, orchids are what's called epiphytic, which means that they sort of symbiotically live growing on other organisms. So typically, like you can see the roots that sort of kind of snake out of the moss. Those roots search for nutrients from decomposing plant debris that might fall into like a crack or a crevice in a tree or a rock. But there are also terrestrial orchids that just grow in the ground. There are orchids that grow, up on mountaintops, and there are orchids that grow in caves. So really, it's just a mixed batch. There's so many different types, and they each have, they're each endemic to different areas. The Phalaenopsis is a moth orchid, and you can see kind of why it looks like a moth, basically. And they come in all sorts of varieties, and that's kind of the one that you would think of when you say orchid to someone. They typically think of the moth orchid.
Plants in Print is an exhibit created by Chicago Botanic Garden, and it features older books from the era of botanical exploration, and it does a history of both botanical exploration as well as different etching and lithography and other printing techniques.
There's an orchid talk daily at 2 p.m., classes that go along with orchids. And of course, Botanica is selling beautiful orchids, orchid-related merchandise, and gifts as well. Our hours are daily 10 a.m. to 5 p.m. and evening hours until 9 p.m. on Thursdays, Fridays, and Saturdays, later in January and beginning in February. Our hours and admission prices are available at our website on fpconservatory.org.